The school nurse called me at work and said, "How fast can you get your son's insulin to school?" "What do you mean?" I dropped my coffee mug on my desk, the hot liquid splashing across quarterly reports I'd been reviewing. Mrs. Patterson's voice was steady, but I could hear the underlying urgency. "Tyler's insulin pen is missing from his emergency kit. We've looked everywhere. His blood sugar is at 387 and climbing." My hands were already grabbing my keys while my brain tried to process this. Tyler's backup insulin was always in the nurse's locked medication cabinet. We'd triple-checked it at the start of the school year. "I'm 15 minutes away," I said, already running toward the parking garage. "His emergency pen is in my car. Should I call an ambulance?" "Not yet," Mrs. Patterson said carefully. "He's conscious and talking, but we need that insulin within the next 30 minutes. I'm monitoring him every 5 minutes." The way she emphasized 30 minutes made my foot press harder on the gas as I pulled out of the garage. Tyler had been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 7. We'd spent 3 years perfecting our routine. Backup plans for our backup plans. The school had 2 insulin pens. I kept one in my car. My ex-wife Rachel had one at her house. This wasn't supposed to happen. The traffic light ahead turned yellow, and I gunned it, sailing through just as it hit red. My phone rang through the car speakers. "Rachel, the school called me too. I'm 40 minutes away in a client meeting. Please tell me you're closer." Her voice had that controlled panic I recognized from Tyler's diagnosis day. "Already driving," I assured her. "ETA 12 minutes. Mrs. Patterson texted me Tyler's latest reading. 402. At 450, we'd have to hospitalize him. At 600, he could slip into a diabetic coma. Each number on that meter was a countdown I couldn't afford to lose. I took the exit for Highway 9 at twice the posted speed, tires squealing. "Dad's coming with your medicine," I heard Mrs. Patterson tell Tyler through our still-connected call. "Just keep drinking water, sweetheart." Tyler's voice came through weak, but trying to sound brave. "Tell him not to speed." "I'm okay." That broke me. Even at 10 years old, even with his blood sugar skyrocketing, he was worried about me. The elementary school parking lot came into view, and I pulled directly onto the sidewalk by the main entrance, not bothering with a proper space. I grabbed the insulin kit from my glove compartment and ran through the doors, ignoring the security protocol of checking in at the front desk. The secretary, Mrs. Chen, just pointed down the hall. "Nurse's office. Go." Tyler was lying on the narrow bed in Mrs. Patterson's office, his face flushed and breathing shallow. The glucose meter next to him showed 411. Mrs. Patterson already had an alcohol wipe ready. I pulled out the insulin pen, dialed the correct dose, we'd practiced this so many times, and injected it into his arm. The medicine would take 15 minutes to start working. 15 very long minutes. "How did this happen?" I asked Mrs. Patterson while holding Tyler's hand. "Where's his regular insulin?" She pulled out a form on her clipboard. "Someone checked it out this morning at 8:47 a.m. The signature, it's not one I recognize." She showed me the medication log. Someone had signed R. Morrison in handwriting I'd never seen before. Who has access to the medication cabinet? My mind was racing through possibilities. Mrs. Patterson's face was grim. "Only myself, the principal, Mr. Hayes, and the backup nurse, Mrs. Walters. But Mrs. Walters called in sick today." She paused. "And the cabinet wasn't forced. Someone used a key." Tyler's breathing was starting to normalize as the insulin worked through his system. His latest reading, 385 and dropping. I texted Rachel the update, and she responded that she was leaving her meeting and coming straight over. That's when Tyler said something that made my blood run cold. "The substitute nurse gave me my morning dose. She said she was filling in for Mrs. Walters." "What substitute nurse?" Mrs. Patterson looked confused. "We didn't have a substitute scheduled. When someone calls out, I cover all day." She immediately picked up her desk phone and called the principal. I could only hear her side. "We need to lock down. Unauthorized person administered medication to a student." Within minutes, the school was in soft lockdown. Police arrived as Tyler's blood sugar hit 320, finally in a safer range though still too high. Detective Mills interviewed Tyler gently while I held his hand. "Can you describe the woman who gave you your morning insulin?" Tyler thought carefully. "She had dark hair and a ponytail. She was wearing scrubs like Mrs. Patterson's but blue instead of pink. She knew my name and exactly where my insulin was kept. The security footage was pulled within an hour. The cameras showed a woman matching Tyler's description entering through a side door at 7:30 a.m. using a keycard. She went straight to the nurse's office, spent 12 minutes inside, then left through the same door. Her face was partially obscured by large sunglasses and her surgical mask, which hadn't seemed unusual since we were still in cold season. The keycard, Detective Mills noted, belonged to Mrs. Walters. She reported it missing from her car yesterday but hadn't gotten around to reporting it to the school yet. The woman had known exactly when Mrs. Walters would be absent, exactly which student was diabetic, and exactly how to access the medication. Rachel arrived as they were reviewing more footage. She hugged Tyler fiercely, then turned to me. This wasn't random. Someone knew his schedule, his condition, his exact medication needs. I'd been thinking the same thing. This felt personal. Mrs. Patterson pulled up Tyler's medical records on her computer. "Only authorized personnel can access these. The last person to view them was..." She stopped, her face going pale.